Some of the foods people eat around the world might seem strange at first, but what happens when you actually measure them? We ran 12 culturally unique foods to the Nutragrammatron, and the results were not what you'd expect.
What about red meat?
What about fruit?
What about fat?
What about carbs?
Run it through the lab. Welcome to the Nutragrammatron Lab, Top 10 Cultural Food Edition. Let's dive right in at number 10. Number 10 is Casu Marzu. This is a traditional cheese from Sardinia, Italy, and it's famous because it contains live larvae. That's correct, maggots. What most people don't know is that this cheese is actually banned in many places, yet it's still considered a delicacy locally and often served during special gatherings. From a nutritional standpoint, this is a dense, calorie-rich food built mostly on fat with some protein layered in. You do get meaningful calcium, which supports bone structure, along with small contributions of B vitamins, but there's nothing here to balance it out. No fiber and not enough micronutrient diversity to carry it any higher. It settles in at a Nutragrammatron score of 60, which places this in the moderate tier classification. Number 9, blood sausage. Eaten across Europe, Latin America, and parts of Asia, this dish uses animal blood mixed with grains and spices. A lot of people don't realize this was originally created as a way to use every part of the animal so that nothing was ever wasted. Nutritionally, this is where things get a little bit interesting. It's extremely rich in iron, obviously, one of the most bioavailable forms you can get, and very high in vitamin B12, which plays a major role in energy metabolism and red blood cell formation. But the structure leans heavily towards fat, and with no fiber at all, there's nothing to stabilize the profile. So even with strong nutrients, it lands at a final Nutragrammatron score of 63. This places it in the moderate tier classification. Number 8, surströmming. This is fermented fish from Sweden, and it's known worldwide for its smell. In fact, it's so potent that opening a can indoors is often avoided entirely. But underneath that, it's actually nutritionally solid. You're getting a clean source of protein along with high levels of vitamin B12 and even vitamin D, which is relatively rare in foods. The problem is the sodium. At this concentration, it starts to overwhelm the rest of the structure. It pulls it down to a final Nutragrammatron score of 66, places it in the moderate tier classification. Number 7, halka. From Iceland, this is fermented shark. What's interesting is that fresh shark meat is actually toxic, so fermentation isn't just tradition, it's necessary to make it safe to eat. Once prepared, it becomes a very lean protein source, meaning you're getting a high protein return with a lot of fat. It also carries selenium and B12, both important for metabolic and cellular function. But again, no fiber, and sodium starts creeping in. Total final Nutragrammatron score is 67, placing it in the moderate tier classification. Number 6, seaweed. Common in Japanese and Korean diets, seaweed has been eaten for centuries and was even used historically as a natural iodine source before modern supplementation. And that's still its biggest strength. Iodine plays a critical role in thyroid function, and seaweed delivers at extremely high levels. On top of that, you get vitamin K, magnesium, calcium, and folate, all contributing to a broad micronutrient profile. But protein is relatively low, and sodium is moderate, depending on the type. That balance lands it at a total Nutragrammatron score of 69. This places the subject in the moderate tier classification. Number 5, sonokji. This is raw octopus, traditionally served in Korea, often still moving on the plate. What most people don't realize is that it's not just about shock value. It's considered fresh and premium when served this way. Nutritionally, this is one of the strongest structures so far. Very high protein density, meaning a lot of protein per calorie, combined with massive vitamin B12 levels, far beyond what most foods provide. You also get some selenium, iron, and copper, all supporting different metabolic processes. The only thing holding it back is the complete absence of fiber and a moderate sodium load. That puts it at a final Nutragrammatron score of 72, which places it in the functional tier classification. Number 4, feline. Cat meat consumption persists primarily in parts of Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, also China, and localized regions of Africa and South America, with an estimated 4 million cats eaten annually in Asia alone. It is consumed as a delicacy for perceived medicinal benefits as treating arthritis or increasing energy. It's supposed to also counteract bad luck or as a source of protein. Nutritionally speaking, it is high protein density along with a strong spread of B vitamins like B12, B6, and niacin. You're also getting minerals like zinc and iron, which are critical for immune function and oxygen transport. And with relatively low sodium, there's very little working against it. That balance brings cat meat to a total Nutragrammatron score of 79, which places it in the functional tier classification. Number 3, crickets. Eaten in parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, insects have been a staple protein source for thousands of years. What surprises most people is how efficient they are. You're getting high protein, but also a balance of fats and even some fiber, something that you don't typically see in animal-based foods. There's also a contribution of B12, which adds to its micronutrient profile. Combined with low sodium and minimal glycemic impact, it's a very clean structure. Final Nutragrammatron score for crickets is 79. This places it in the functional tier classification. Number 2, beef heart. Organ meats have been consumed across cultures for centuries, often prized more than the muscle meat. In some traditions, the heart was considered one of the most valuable parts of the animal. And nutritionally, it shows. Extremely high protein density plus a wide range of micronutrients like B12, riboflavin, iron, zinc, and selenium. This isn't just one or two nutrients standing out. This is a broad spectrum profile. The only real limitation is the lack of fiber, which keeps it from pushing even higher than what it is. Beef heart comes in at a final Nutragrammatron score of 79. This places this subject in the functional tier classification. Number 1, natto. A traditional Japanese food made from fermented soybeans. What most people don't know is that natto is one of the richest sources of vitamin K2 in the entire food supply, something that plays a key role in bone and cardiovascular health. But it doesn't stop there. You're getting iron, magnesium, calcium, protein, and fiber, all working together. That combination is what makes it different. It's not just one strong area, it's balanced across the board. Natto's final Nutragrammatron score earns the top score of 86. This places it in the strong tier classification. Now that we've cleared the top 10, we'll speak about our honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1, the century egg. A preserved egg from China that can age for weeks or even months. It still delivers protein along with strong amounts of B12 and selenium, but high sodium and zero fiber limit how far it can go. Final Nutragrammatron score, 59. This places it in the limited tier classification. Honorable mention number 2, canine. In South Korea, dog soup, or bosintang, is historically eaten during hot summer days to, quote, heal heat with heat. In China and Vietnam, it is believed to increase male virility, warm the body, and bring good luck. In Nigeria, some believe dog meat provides immunity against diseases and protections from spiritual harm. Some cultures in Cameroon and the Philippines use dog meat in ceremonial rituals. In some communities, it is considered a readily available delicacy or a tradition rather than a food of last resort. However, it is generally not cheaper than other meat sources, dispelling the myth that it is eaten only by the impoverished. Nutritionally speaking, dog meat is generally high in fat, only moderate in protein density for the amount of energy received, and the micronutrient profile isn't strong enough to carry it, with its highest nutrient being iron at a low 6% daily value per 100 calories. Final Nutragrammatron score for dog is 60. This places it in the moderate tier classification. So maybe the question isn't whether these foods are strange, but whether we've misunderstood what normal really means. Measured, not assumed. This has been the Nutragrammatron Lab. Structured evaluation, transparent criteria, consistent analysis. Classification complete.